Hey guys, Master Walker here. Hey, I wanted to talk to some of you guys about belt promotion. I know we have belt promotion coming up, and some people have been asking me, "Hey, what's that all about? What are those belt promotions about? What are these belts about?" and things like that. If you haven't already checked out the belt trees and the way they go, check it out. I'll try to put a link either here or there or wherever it is, so you can check out the ones for your age group. But a lot of parents may ask me, "Hey, is it really that important? Do they need to test for their belt rank?" The answer to that is yes. It's a very, very important part of the promotion and things like that. Hey, listen, I know a lot of parents. They come in and you want your child to have more confidence, more discipline, more respect, all those things. And I know those things are really important to you, but the things that are most important to the children are things like belts and stripes and things like that. So a lot of times, parents they don't always see the importance of it. Listen, the belts and the stripes are the rewards for children learning the things that they need to do. Their hard work towards self-discipline and focus. And if they are not rewarded for those things, then what ends up happening is they become demotivated. They start to think that maybe it's not worth it to do all this respect and discipline and things like that. Another thing I hear sometimes is parents will say, "Well, I don't want them doing it for the belts. I want them just to do the respect and do the self-discipline and things like that." But honestly, think about it. If you went to work and your boss said, "Hey, we're not going to pay you this week. I just want you to do the work," you probably wouldn't do it because there's no reward in it. I know everybody's work is rewarding and things like that, but there's certain things. We always do things because we're looking for a reward or some type of satisfaction that comes from it. And that can be in a lot of different things. Ultimately, the goal when you first start is, when kids first start, it's belts and stripes and things like that. And what we do is we make the challenge a little bit tougher each time. It gets a little tougher and a little tougher, and then eventually, they're not thinking about the belts. They're thinking about showing self-discipline and focus and things like that along the way. I often think of it like this. When I was a kid, I hated broccoli. I hated it. I hated spinach. I hated all those things, and um, even to the point to where I remember my mom saying, "All right, you don't have to eat it." But when I got older, I found that if you don't eat those things, you're going to have some serious health problems. So I started, man, I'm just going to eat it because I don't want to have these health problems. I want to be healthier and things like that. But then what happened is over time, like now, I like broccoli. I like spinach. Sometimes I'm thinking, man, I really want some broccoli. I really want some spinach. I'm not thinking about the health benefits anymore. So the same thing's true for kids as they're testing for belts. At first, they're just doing it for the belts and things like that. But then, after they've done it for a little bit, they start to do it just because, they start to show discipline because that's just what they do. They start to show respect and focus because they've done it so much. Everything you do in life is a habit. So it just becomes a habit for them. And that's one of the main things. Now, another thing that I hear sometimes, the third thing is sometimes parents will say, "Well, I don't know if they're ready for their belt promotion yet. They don't have it down." Hey, listen, one of the things I've said for a long time is that um, if if you run your belt promotions in your karate school, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. If people ran elementary schools and middle schools that same way, like you had to have it exactly perfect, we would all still be in the fifth grade. Think about it. If you had to make a 100 on everything you did, we would still be in the fifth grade. It doesn't even make sense. So the same thing's true for the karate class. They don't have to get an A. They could get a B to pass. They could get a C. And then as they go along, it gets tougher, just like school. High school is harder than elementary school and middle school. Junior college is harder than high school. Undergraduate degree is harder than junior high. Master's is harder. Getting your doctorate degree, that's even more difficult. But and the standards are higher for those things. So the same thing's true for karate. The standard that you have for a white belt is different than the standard that you have for a black belt. But if you never push through that, then they'll never make it that far. So are the belts an important part of their classes and training? Do they really need that? Yeah, they do. In order for them to get into the habit of success, self-discipline, focus, and respect, then children need to be testing for their belts. And it's probably the best and easiest way to get them to do that. Anyway, this is all outlined in a book that we recommend called The Whole Brain Child. I'll try to link that in here too, but I know that's in our beginner page. But if you haven't read that yet, read it because it does outline a lot of those things. Anyway, if you have any questions, you can ask myself. You can send me an email, and be more than happy to answer any questions that you have about the bell promotions.